Fat loss isn't magic, it's math. And today I'm going to break it down for you so you don't ever have to waste time again. This video is going to break everything down into clear, simple steps that you can start today. Hi, I'm Debbie Chu. Welcome to my channel, Chew on Vegan. I am a registered nurse and I eat a whole food plant-based diet with a focus on protein. And here I like to share simple recipes that help you get healthy, lose fat, and live a longer life. So let's get right into it. So today I'm going to be using my whiteboard because I think it's fun to have visual aids. So the first thing you need to know to lose fat is you need to be in a calorie deficit. There's no getting around that. Doesn't matter what you've heard, you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. That's just basic science. So how do you figure out how you're in a calorie deficit or what calories you should be eating? And I know there's a lot of confusion, so I'm going to try to simplify it for you. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to tdecalculator.net to figure out your maintenance calories. That's where you're going to start, okay? So once you get to this website, you're going to put in your stats. It's going to ask for, if you're male or female, your height, your weight, your age, your activity level. So I put my stats in. I'm female, 69 years old, I weigh 144, I'm 5'6", and I have a 33% body fat. And I know that because I have a Hume Health Body Pod that tells me what my body percentage is. And then I put down that I have light activity because I'm not walking as much as I usually do because I've done something to my foot and I will be going to the doctor next week to figure that out because it's driving me crazy. So, and it comes out that my maintenance calories are 1,808 calories. And that's what I need to eat to maintain my 145 pounds on my body. Now, I don't think that I am overweight by any stretch of the imagination. And my body fat is 33%. That's too high. I need it to be 29 or 30. So I need to lose some body fat, and that is just really important for my health. That's the fat around my visceral organs, which is the dangerous fat. So once you get your maintenance calories, so you're going to subtract 250 to 300 calories off this number. I'm going to do 300 calories. That leaves me with 1,508 calories that I'm going to be working with in any given day. Now you could go up to 500 calories, but that's pretty aggressive and you're gonna probably be hungry. If I did that, I'd only be getting like 1,300 calories. That's not gonna work for me. So we're gonna start off with just taking 250 to 300, so you're doing a moderate reduction there of calories and something that will be a lot more doable for you. All right, so once we figure all this out, then we need to figure out what is our protein needs for the day. So let me write down the formula. So you're going to multiply 0.7 or all the way up to 1 times your ideal body weight, and that will give you your grams of protein that you'll need in any given day, okay? Now, if you're very sedentary, I would do the 0.7. If you're super active, like an athlete, or you play a lot of tennis, you're super active, you could go 1 gram of protein for every pound of ideal body weight. So I want to lean out a little bit, so I'm going to say that I want to weigh 135 pounds, okay? And this is just an arbitrary number. That's not going to be exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm just doing this for teaching purposes. All right, so I'm going to do 135 times 0.8 comes to 108 grams of protein a day. And then I'm also did 135 times 0.9, which is 121. So I will go in between 108 to 121. I will fluctuate. So you want to be in a range. It doesn't have to be like this exact number, and if you don't, stick to it, the world's going to come to an end. It's just going to be a range. So that's how I'm going to start off with my calories and my deficit, and then what my protein grams will be for the day. Okay, so now protein, that's part of the puzzle. very important part of the puzzle, because you want to maintain adequate protein so you preserve muscle while you're losing fat, because it's very easy to just lose muscle, and that's not what we want, especially after 50, postmenopausal, all that. We want to keep our muscle. But there's a few other parts to the puzzle. You want to increase your activity, increase your steps. Now, if you do 5,000 steps a day, try to do 6, work up to 7. And that way you are decreasing your calories and you are increasing your activity. So those two are going to work together to keep you in a nice deficit. Now, what you don't want to do is, if you burn off 200 calories, you think you can eat 200 calories more worth of food. That's going to get you in a world of trouble. So don't do that. Don't eat those calories that you think you burned off. You want to add strength training. Very important to build and preserve your muscle. I don't care if you use the bands, if you use free weights, you go to the gym, but do some kind of resistant strength kind of training, okay? If you're a total beginner, then start at total beginner level. Watch YouTube videos for beginners. Go to the gym and ask them to help you. Get a trainer at the gym. They're more than happy to show you how machines work. And Planet Fitness is what, 10, 15 bucks a month? It's really a good deal. And then you want to prioritize sleep. This is also a tough one for a lot of people. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is crucial. When you don't get enough sleep, it affects your hunger. You're going to be more hungry, you're going to be fatigued, and then you make bad decisions as far as food goes. And then also, going back to strength training, you don't have to live at the gym. If you just do two, 3 times a week, you're going to be golden. That's perfect. And then you want to manage stress, which is easier said than done, and that's something that I need to work on myself. I am working on it. You know, deep breathing, yoga, meditation, and I'm really trying to incorporate that into my daily life. And it's a challenge sometimes because I'm very busy. But I need to make it more of a priority, and that's one of my goals this year. And then you want to make sure you're eating whole foods, low calorie density, non-starchy vegetables. Potatoes are great. I mean, they get a bad rap, but potatoes are very satiating. Get those on your plate. They're a whole food. And then you want to make sure you have some low calorie sauces at home. Veggies are your friends. They're low calorie, they give you great fiber, they fill up your tummy, and so you want to fill your plate with veggies, at least half your plate, and then add a protein on there, and then you can add a starch. So this is how you want to build your plate. Half your plate is non-starchy vegetables, a quarter of your plate is starch, and the other quarter is protein. So that way you're getting adequate protein, you're getting plenty of fiber, vitamins and minerals from the veg, and then you've got your starch, which is going to help you keep satisfied and full, along with the protein, which will help do the same. And then you also want to track your food. Now, I know a lot of people are resistant to that, but you cannot change what you don't know. I mean, if you don't have the data as to what you're eating, how can you possibly change? You can't. That's why you need to know your maintenance calories. Use something like Chronometer, chronometer.com. It's a free app. And what I like to do is, like last night, I put in all my food for the day. What I'm going to have for breakfast, snacks, lunch, dinner, dessert. So I have my calories all in there. And as I'm doing that, I can see where I need to tweak it. Like, okay, I'll eat a little bit less of that, then I can eat this. And I stay in my calorie deficit. And I know it sounds complicated, but it's really not. Tracking your calories gives you freedom. Freedom to, first of all, have control over your diet and plug in those numbers, and you can see where you're at. And it just makes your life easier. You don't have to think about it, because we always will overestimate how much exercise we get, and we'll always underestimate how many calories. You're going to look at something and eyeball it. No, you need to get a food scale. They're really cheap. You can just get, I don't care what kind you get, just get a food scale and start measuring your food. And you'll be shocked when you see. And once you start honing that in, you're going to start losing the fat. Now, how do you know that you're in a calorie deficit? Because you're going to be losing the fat. Things are going to change. Your clothes are going to start fitting looser. And after a couple weeks, if you're really not noticing anything, then you may need to lower your calories a little bit more or increase your activity more to get into more of a deficit. But you'll know when you're in a calorie deficit because you will lose the weight, the fat. And another good way to know is I use the Hume Health Body Pod. It breaks it all down for me. I know what my body fat percentage was. I know what my body fat percentage is. Remember I said 33%, which is too high for someone my age and weight and all that. So that's what I need to work on. And it tells you where your fat is stored. It tells you what your muscle, it tells you how hydrated you are. So go to humehealth.com and they're having a 35% off sale. You use my discount code, you'll get another 15% off, and you can get your scale for up to 50% off, 30-day money-back guarantee. It's FSA and HSA eligible, so your insurance can pay for it. So give it a try. It really gives you another tool in your toolbox to really track where you're losing your fat. And then that way you know if you're losing muscle and maybe you need to eat more protein. So it's just really good information to have. Another question is, how long should the fat loss phase be? I would say in the beginning, 6 to 8 weeks. And you can probably lose a half to a pound a week depending on your calorie deficit. And then take a break and eat in maintenance. And then if you need to do another fat loss phase, then go ahead and do that. But you're going to figure out what works for you. I like to do 8 weeks, and then I'll be in maintenance for a while. I mean, yeah, for quite a few weeks. I don't worry about it. As long as I'm weighing myself on my Hume Body Pod and I see what's happening with my fat and my muscle, then I'm not too worried about it. Another tip that I did not write down was hydration. I like to drink at least 100 ounces of water a day. Maybe you don't start there, but definitely increase your water, and that's also going to help you feel full. And then just know you may feel hungry, but you're not going to be starving. But feeling your hunger is good. I know before I started doing this, I was never hungry. Never. And then I wondered why I could never lose weight. So I know that tracking your calories and doing all this, it does seem complicated, but once you start doing it, it's really very simple. And I know that I used to believe, and it did work for a while, that as long as I was eating whole food plant-based, I could eat whatever I wanted as much as I wanted. And that just didn't hold true once I was going through perimenopause and all that. My body, you change. You go through actual changes in your body, and that just didn't work. So now that I'm tracking my food, using my body pod, and just figuring out what my deficit is and how long to be in it and going to the gym, my life is so much easier now. I don't have to think about all these things. And you know, you don't want to be in a fat loss phase forever. That's no way to live. You want to get to the point where you're in eating maintenance, and that's your life, and that's a nice place to be. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something, and it can be overwhelming, but really these are very easy steps to incorporate into your life. All the information that I spoke about today will be in the description box, all the steps, all the websites. Please check out the other resources I offer. I have a cookbook. I have a 7-day reset, which you can find on my Facebook group, which is free to join. And also I have a 14-day reset to routine that you do after the 7-day reset, and the link to that is down below in the description box as well. And I'd really appreciate it if you give this video a like and share it with your friends, and please subscribe so you don't miss a single video. And if you like this style of video, let me know in the comments below, and if you've made it this far in the video, comment below with Fat Loss 101, and that way I know you made it to the end with me, and I really appreciate it. So that's it for today, and until next time, thank you.